I guess we're live. Okay, cool. No countdown, apparently. Hey, everyone. I'm Sentinel, SSG Sentinel of the XPN Network. Thank you so much for joining us for the third episode of XPN USA. I am joined by Darth Praxis and by Fuzzy Belvedere. Darth Praxis, let's start this episode off with introduce yourself to our viewers and tell them what you've been playing this week.
Oh, sure. I am an idiot. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. And I like playing games when I can. Sometimes I can't, but I've been kind of just waiting for Jedi Survivor a little bit. I finally pre-ordered it today, oddly enough. So I get it tomorrow.
Nice.
That. Yeah. And just because I've been having a discussion, I'll make it quick. I did order a very expensive version because I wanted my daughter to be able to have it as well. And I found that Best Buy had an $89 special edition that had both the physical and digital copy. So
nice, outstanding, very nice.
Which in my opinion, that should be the kind of the standard. But that's just me.
Yeah, definitely. Fuzzy, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and tell them a little bit about yourself and what you've been playing this week.
Okay. Glad to be here with you guys. My name is Fuzzy Belvedere. On a number of podcasts from here and there. And if most of you are into any kind of simulation or arcade racing, that's my jam, I guess you could say. So for the most part, a big Forza fan, big Gran Turismo fan, just any racing game in general fan. And let's see, I've been gaming since the 70s. I'm almost 50, and I got a lot of years in gaming, but for the most part, my go-tos as of earlier today and just this week in general have been Division 2, Forza Horizon 5, because they had the new DLC today. Well, not DLC, but like the add-on or season stuff with the new track. And going back to Gran Turismo because they added some new cars and fixed a couple of bugs. So been having fun with that. And then, man, oh man, there's some awesome games I'm looking forward to. Like I had pre-ordered Jedi Survivor. Been hearing some negative stuff about it, but for the most part, still happy with my pre-order. But and then looking forward to playing the last the last Benedict Fox or the last case of Benedict Fox. That's going to be another one that in the next day or two, I think I'm going to be diving into.
Well, how about you,
Nice.
Sentinel? What you been into?
I've actually been playing Mafia on my PlayStation. It came with PlayStation Plus a while back. I actually bought it for my Xbox, but I got it, PlayStation Plus, they have some pretty good games, much better than games with gold, unfortunately,
Yeah.
And I've also been playing a lot of Halo Infinite, and it's like I was playing Halo Infinite when it first came out, a lot of it multiplayer all the time. I took some time away from it, but I do have to say that 343 has really put a lot of work into it, and the product that we have right now is phenomenal. It's really good so far, so I'm really enjoying it.
Significantly better than what was originally released, you think?
Yes. And I mean, you could say that 343 needed more time, but I don't think the community would have put up with that, to be honest.
No.
they wanted it when they wanted it, and delaying it a year was hard for a lot of people. Delaying it 2 just wouldn't have worked.
I think it's the same. I think it's probably going to be the same problem with Redfall a little bit because of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because of the whole debacle with 30 frames per second, yep.
Well, and delaying, they don't have any real way to get away with that. They'll be like, no, they gotta release it. They're stuck, and so they're going to have to release it and then patch it and work toward it. Especially the PC version, which still baffles me, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
And Fuzzy, I think the thing with what you were talking about, Jedi Survivor, was that the PC version you were mentioning? Because that's something I'd heard about.
They said it's not just the PC version, but the good thing is at least EA is aware of it and they got some patches lined up. But
for tomorrow, basically.
Yeah. So hopefully the day one patch takes care of most of this stuff. I think the big thing is as long as there's not like a save bug, I think that's like the one that just gets under my skin kind of thing. Outside of that, the rest I could probably kind of force through or play through kind of thing. But we'll see.
That pisses everybody off.
I think that's one of the bugs that would kill motivation the fastest. If you're playing through the game and you spend so much of, especially for a lot of us that have jobs, we just don't have that much time, and you have that save bug that completely deletes all your progress. That's going to kill a lot of people's, desire to pick up a game, no matter how good it is.
Yeah, the motivation's gone at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, for those of you that don't know, for those of you that are checking out the show for the first time, obviously, this is a more chill, more relaxed show. We're not necessarily talking about gaming news, but we are talking about upcoming games that myself, Darth Praxis, and Fuzzy Belvedere are really looking forward to. So I can't really say, hey, let's come up with a PlayStation game, because as of right now, there's like 2 of them, I think. But just like in general, doesn't have to be PlayStation, doesn't have to be Xbox. We'll start with you, Fuzzy. What's your most wanted game that hasn't released yet, excluding Jedi Survivor, because we know everybody's looking forward to that. But like out of all the games that are releasing late May onward, you could even include Redfall. We'll include Redfall. Yeah. What game is like your number one for this year that you're really looking forward to?
Honestly, it's going to be Forza Motorsport, and it's mainly because of me being a racing fan. That's the one I want to get my hands on. I'm hoping beyond like some of the improvements that they talked about, like the ray tracing on track,
right,
the time of day as far as like progression. So that, because I love doing like almost like simulated Rolex 24-hour races, but I don't have 24 hours to race. So
right.
I make it where it starts in sunlight and goes into night, and then maybe back into daylight in like a 30-minute time span. And if they have that, we can do like the accelerated clock and see the sunset and the moon come up and all that. I'm all for that. So that's the big thing I'm looking for, and they've improved the handling and all that stuff. So that's top of my list. And then me being a sci-fi guy, definitely looking forward to Starfield. That's also high up on the list. I mean, that kind of goes along with Jedi Survivor as well.
Right.
Oh yeah. I've always kind of wanted, and this is going to probably sound weird, because I see this as potentially being more of like a build your own Star Trek adventure kind of game in a way, where you're able to explore endless areas, and they're going to have all these planets where you're going to either find crew members or find resources and things like that. So I plan on spending a lot of time in that. And then Spider-Man 2 is up there as well, but that one I'm pretty sure should hit for 2023. Love the first Spider-Man of 2018. Love Miles Morales, although haven't finished either one of those just yet. I'm about 70% through with Miles Morales. I was on my PS4 like 60% through, and then the save didn't carry over for whatever reason. So I kind of put that one down.
That's rough.
But I'm hoping with this new one, I'm hearing that it might be co-op, which would be kind of a cool thing to have.
Nice.
And even if it's not, if it's like a switchable character thing, possibly, that would be awesome. But in general, just getting to see an updated version, built around the PS5 and all the hardware and whatnot, I'm really looking forward to seeing what that game is going to be like. And then for indies, I don't think Hades 2 is going to be this year, so that one's kind of that asterisk. But the Last Case of Benedict Fox is definitely up there. Fingers crossed for Replaced. That's another one. Looking forward to. I would really like this game is already out on PC, but I'm hoping they consider bringing it to console. It's called Eyes in the Dark. Think of like having it where it's almost like the concept of Alan Wake, where you have to have like a flashlight and stuff to kind of show light in the areas, and then that way it's like explored. But then there's all kinds of enemies hiding in the darkness, and all you can see are usually the eyes. And then eventually your flashlight can shoot rays of light, or have it where it shoots sparklers, or in different kinds of like builds and weapons and things like that. It's kind of a Metrovania, but with like a dark side to it kind of thing.
Cool.
Definitely sounds interesting.
But those are like the top of my list of what I'm looking forward to that should be within the next 12 months. Also want to dive into Redfall, but I'm going to wait for the 60 frames patch. Being a big Division fan, like I played 30 frames all this time, and then when these new consoles came out, that upgrade just I don't want to go back to 30 frames after.
It's a ruining thing. It is
Yeah.
definitely something that once you do it, you really don't look at everything the same.
Right.
When Destiny got the 60 frame patch, Destiny 2, and then I went back to Destiny. I was like, I don't want to try that again. And I went back to the original Destiny and opened my file and started doing it. I was like, my eyes were bleeding. I'm like, why did I put up with this?
Yeah.
Like, how am I playing this? Oh my god.
Well, and it's because you didn't become accustomed to it. I mean, it's like you didn't become accustomed to 60 and then go back to 30. We were all used to 30.
We were used to 30. Yeah.
And so it's like you weren't looking for 60, but now that they've given you 60 with some of these games, if you go back to 30, it's like you absolutely notice.
Well, it's even bigger than that for me. I have a 165 hertz monitor, and I run all of my shooting games at like 120, 1440p.
Oh Jesus!
On the Series X.
That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice.
When you do that, it's even hard to go back to 60. You're like, geez. You see, I played Modern Warfare 2019. Went back to that at 60, and it was like, holy crap! I see the difference now. I'm like, geez, that's crazy. I can't believe I was looking at that and going. Wow.
And the new one runs at 120, right?
Well, not just. I mean, that's one of like dozens of games. I got Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise runs at 120.
Wow.
And that is incredible. And you play that, and you're like, damn. And I was playing it at 4K, and 4K runs at 60. Kind of. It kind of goes between 45 and 60. And I at 4K with all the effects, I turned it right down. I'm like, nope, 120. I'm running at 120. And immediately it's just playing the game is better at higher speed, even with graphics that are brought down. And that's kind of the PC gamer mindset too.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I've gotten this past week, I've actually gotten in arguments with people over this because I say I would rather play 60 frames per second at a lower resolution than 4K at 30 frames per second. It makes no sense.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have no problem with it. Even I have HDMI or HDR or HDR? Yeah, HDR. I have HDR. It's turned off, basically. And so it's disabled while I'm playing. And but like, how can you play it like that? Who cares? I mean, I'm able to get the best frame rate and to move as smoothly as possible. And that's the key. And the other thing is, it's also a lot of guys that are first-person shooter. That's what they do. They're like competitive players. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't. My son-in-law, he plays competitively. He's incredible. It makes me just look like a total noob playing anything. And he plays Warzone, and they win every time they play, no matter what. They never lose. I was like,
well, what frame rate does he play at though?
He plays at 1080p, 280.
That's nice. That's nice.
Well, he has a 4080. That's why. So he runs
I
it
could
on
see
a
that.
4080. And it's an i9 and a 4080, and he's like, no. He said, I don't even compromise. That's it. And I was like, not even 1440p? He said, nope. He's like, it goes below 200. I don't like it. I was like, jeez.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, well, for PC gamers, so they have that choice. But it's like...
Well, Series X does too, but the problem is the developer has to be, I guess, used to doing that is the key to it. And willing to do that, because then, what is it, Todd Howard, his concern, I think, especially with something like Starfield, and I'll move off of this, is that, the initial like vision isn't there, and who cares? I mean, if somebody really wants to play, look at Cyberpunk. I don't play Cyberpunk except for in performance mode. I don't bother putting it in 4K because I don't even want to watch it like stutter at 24 frames per second. It's not worth it.
It's
not worth it. No, I mean, if it was stable at 30, I might do it just to kind of check it out. But it's not. It's still not stable. It can't do it. And so you play it in performance mode, and you take some of the hits, and the game looks incredible. But that's the way it goes. Yeah. And they need to give that option, basically, in my opinion, from now on with every game. They shouldn't like, well, our vision is this, and we want to keep the vision. Yeah, but what about people that want to play the game?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't want to look at the game. I want to play the game. So I enjoy it looking good, and I think that's the crux of Redfall right now. It looks good, but it really does not look next generation. It looks good.
Yes.
It looks really good, but it looks like a really, really good Xbox One game.
And I kind of I got a little worried when even Colt Eastwood said, "Hey, you know what? I got to talk about some of this stuff." And he was talking about how it was the frame rate was dipping even on PC, and they were telling them not to ask about the console version of the game. And another guy that got flown out to play the game that was out there, I guess, at the same time Colt Eastwood was, got told the same thing. Don't ask about the console version. And when a developer tells content creators like that, people who have YouTube channels and who have large followings, that's concerning. You know,
no, it's disconcerting. Yeah,
it's like it's one of those things that you don't want to hear. You know, and you kind of want good news whenever it comes to something like Redfall. Like, you know, they come out and say, "Hey, 4K at 60 at launch, we're good to go." And you're like, yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. You don't want them to put little stickers on the back of their cases at retailers and people take pictures and put it on Twitter and say, hey, you know what? They put 60 is not available at launch, because that's not a good look. Yeah. You know? And it's like I'm looking forward to the game, but you're exactly right about the frame rates. You know, because once you get used to that 60, it's hard to go back to 30. And it's like, look, it's like, I know you guys are already thinking about, oh, next console will be 8K. No, how about you worry about frames per second first, and then we do resolution.
Well, and that whole 8K, all that nonsense, it's just, that's white noise. It's all nonsense. They talk about the next big thing. I don't care about that. And one of the proof of how much it doesn't matter is people like my son-in-law. You know, he spent $1,700 on a video card just to run a game at 1080p.
But it's frames per second, though.
It's because the speed. He wants the speed. He didn't care about it, and they're not really getting that. They're like, it's just the graphics. It's like a lot of them are still stuck in the '90s Sega versus Nintendo fight all over again. It's like they're still battling out that, and we really have to make it the best. And I agree, you got to make it look good. I like looking good, but at the same time, lock a standard and stick with it and do the best you can to hold to it. That's my opinion.
Definitely. And you know, at least it's like, at least give players the option of whether they want one or the other. You know, if you're going to be taking screenshots and stuff, fine. Do the 4K at 30, because then the frames per second aren't going to matter. But if you're going to be playing where you're shooting at multiple enemies and there's so much stuff on the screen, you're going to need those frames per second to be locked 60 minimum. That's just my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to see it where instead of them pushing for 4K, possibly go with 1440 as like kind of like what you guys are saying. Go ahead and make 60 the standard. Target that. If you can push it to 1440, don't worry about really going past that. Like, even if there's headroom, don't go past the 1440. Do the upscale. And the reason why I say that is, do all the other specular stuff like the
ray tracing,
occlusion, the ray tracing, the particle effects. Go and turn all of that up to 9 and leave it at 1440. Because in all honesty, at that point, having those extra effects, if you can still do the 60 at 1440 versus trying to put it at 4K and possibly have it where it dips to 45 or below, I think that's a better experience overall, better looking experience, and better experience as far as the feel of play and stuff like that.
I think the biggest thing with that is it's once again it goes to a performance versus a visual mode versus a fidelity mode. And if the fidelity mode is 4K 30 and they want to run it that way, fine. I really don't care. Some people, like I've heard it split down the middle with debates. People are like, I don't care about 60, 30's great, and the others are like, dude, it's got to be 60 or it's garbage. And I'm okay if they continue to have dual modes. The problem is, I don't understand why the developer is so hardcore, why they're like, we just can't do that. We can't compromise like that. You've already compromised. And I don't know if they overextended themselves based on capabilities and that they're struggling with the engine, which doesn't make sense to me, because I was under the impression this is basically a pushed version of Unreal 4, right? Yeah, that should be locked in pretty well by now, and it has nowhere near the features of Unreal Engine 5, which is also probably part of the problem. If they're pushing too many effects on Unreal Engine 4, 5 is better incorporated and it works better. And maybe it might have been better. We were at some point in the past, I thought we heard that this was going to be Unreal 5, but I think it was assumed. instead of actually confirmed. And I should have realized this is Bethesda making it. This isn't like another studio within Xbox.
Well,
So
you know what?
yeah.
And it's like you look at Bethesda Softworks. They had to rely on id Software to get the shooting mechanics straight for Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's like id Software is golden.
With Starfield.
Well, I'm not sure about
with
Starfield.
With Redfall. I heard that they had talked a little bit with them because the gunplay was a little weird too.
Yeah, because they need to. It's like you have a studio like id Software that, as far as shooters go, they can get it up there. They can get it looking phenomenal. And it's like if you have someone like Arcane that's not really used to 60 frames per second, you got to pull these resources. Even if you have to take devs off of whatever id Software is working on, you need them to come in and really help these guys get the game up to speed, because Redfall is one of their big launches for this year. You have three big launches.
Yeah.
You have Redfall, Starfield, and Forza Motorsport. And everybody who plays Forza knows Turn 10 is going to do great like they always do.
Oh, they look like it already. It's amazing. Yeah.
If they're not the most talented studio that Xbox is, because it could be Coalition, then that's fine. It's always one or the other, though. But it's like you have to get Arcane up to that level where they can do 60 frames per second, where they can do it on Unreal Engine 5 and leave Unreal Engine 4 behind, because it's like if Unreal Engine 4 is just not capable of handling it, you have to go Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, you have to.
Well, I just downloaded Unreal Engine 5 and I have the Fortnite editor on my computer. I haven't messed with it yet. I was going to kind of dive in and play around and see, but from what I've gathered, I don't know if you've seen any of it. If you saw the tech demo or the one for the GDC, for the Game Developers Conference.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
So the GDC came out a month or two ago, and when they did an Unreal Engine 5. I think it was 5.1, because I don't think 5.2 is out yet. So they showed 5.1, and they were showing what could be done. And essentially, it's kind of what I approached people about when I was in high school, because I was interested in becoming a programmer, but I realized that when you have to learn a computer language, you have to learn a language. And that was hard. That was hard. And I went, oh, God. And I tried. I did the Visual Basic. I learned that, and I actually got an A in the class and don't remember a damn thing about it. So it's not helpful. And so I was like, is there some way? I told somebody, is there some way, some kind of program where you can use a graphical interface and you can literally grab items, stretch them, morph them, move them, and put them into places in a three-dimensional space? They're like, no, that doesn't exist. I was like, really? They said, no, you have to plot the quadrants, or you have 3D Studio Max, which does some of it, but the graphical user interface side of it was clunky comparatively, and you did need to know the code so you can check yourself, obviously, because you have to figure out if it's going to work within everything. All your hit detection, everything needs to be calculated and then tested and then verified, and I got it. I was like, okay, well, that's going to probably limit me there. So I go, okay. Now, from what they showed at this conference, it's a clip they showed, they literally procedurally generated an entire game level off of 4 objects. Yeah. They hit a button and it goes tuk, 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 and they build it. And I was like, what?
And that's absolutely amazing that they've come this far. That's crazy.
It makes, and the statement of it was, and this is why Unreal Engine 5, and they were like, we got to figure things out with Unreal Engine 5. And I believe from the base level understanding of programming and what's needed and maybe what they're concerned about, they want to make sure integration and cohesion works. And when they build something, that they're not going to run into billions of bugs. And I get that aspect. But showing how quickly they could build a level told me, dude, they could build a level in no time.
Yeah.
And comparatively speaking, obviously they want to work on the art style and they want to make things specific, and that's going to take more time for the artists to make the style of game. I'm looking at an ad for Redfall right now, so they can make it look the way they want.
Yeah.
But if they had an engine that was that intuitive to utilize, it would streamline the production process, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. You look at and you know what? It's like Redfall is using Unreal Engine 4. They should have used Unreal Engine 5. As far as I remember, Starfield is still using the Creation Engine. Am I right? And Bethesda can say all they want that, oh, it's been upgraded and this and that, and it's like, come on, man. This game engine was first created in 1999. That's 24 years ago, and you just keep upgrading it. It's like that car that you have, rather than replacing it, and it's got holes in the floorboard. You just keep repairing it, and you keep replacing the tires, and it has like 6 million miles on it. It's like eventually you got to get rid of it.
Well, it's like the RE engine for Capcom. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
I think they've done a better job than Bethesda. I dare say that. I mean, if you look at games that have come out in the same generation, and you look at like Resident Evil Village, I mean that was a spectacular looking game. I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
and that was an RE game, RE engine, and so is Monster Hunter for that matter. I mean, they're all built on RE engine. Yeah, and they've been able to continually make that stand up, and honestly, it's Capcom. I don't think they're going to jump to a Western engine anytime soon, so they're going to hold on to that one themselves too.
Yeah,
or just like Nintendo. Nintendo, I don't know. Nintendo eventually might go, you know what? I'm going to try one of those engines. Let's see.
Yeah, Nintendo play a lot of their stuff close to the chest, so I don't know if they're gonna,
Well, the Zelda engine is their big engine now, essentially for Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
Right. So, I just feel like Bethesda is just not cutting the mustard. It's kind of like all these other studios, and it feels like it's Bethesda Softworks and Arcane in particular that are kind of falling behind, because you got id Software and like Machine Games or Machine Head Games, whatever it's called, that works on Wolfenstein. Those two are like the good ones. And then you have two that are kind of not up to par, and it just feels like Phil Spencer really needs to have a more hands-on approach and say, "I'm sorry, God Howard, you don't get, this is not your Mount Olympus. You can't have free reign here. I got to come down and see what you're doing, because 30 frames per second in 2023 it's just not going to work, regardless of the creative vision,
Well, I think it depends on which Arcane it is, because the other, was it Arcane Leon, the ones that did Deathloop, that one was 60 frames pretty much locked. So that
one was solid.
So I don't know what the deal was with this. I think what probably happened was they knew it would have been outside the window if they did do the conversion over to, Unreal 5, because we heard Obsidian did it with Avowed. And then there was another studio that was doing it, but it wasn't, obviously it wasn't Arcane. Yeah. And I think even with the year delay, they looked at everything that they were working on, and they're like, we're not going to be able to make it within the year. It might be 2 years if we do it. And I think at that point it was kind of like the decision was probably made. We'll go ahead and work on, X, Y, and Z, which I guess they thought they could do, like FRS and stuff like that, to kind of get it to the 60. And I think the shot clock basically ran out on them. But I think this is a one-off only because of, the pandemic a while back up to now. And then this was kind of like, well, we got this cooking in the oven. Should we just start over, or should we just put the icing on this cake and send it out there type of deal? So I think Arcane as a whole, between the two studios, I think this will be the last hiccup, let's say, as far as for launch. Now, on the other end of things with Bethesda, with their Creation Engine, the Creation Engine 2 will definitely be under scrutiny. I know everybody on Twitter will have their, programmer goggles on, looking at every little bit. And my gut's telling me it's going to be 30 at launch. I would like for it to be 60. I'm pretty sure, much like other Bethesda games, the modding community will probably do something to make it 60 before the official launch.
On PC, for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, PC should be fine, but console might be a little bit of a question mark. But hopefully they've heard some of the backlash with Redfall, and between now and June between now and September, I should say, the actual launch, they kind of get it resolved. But,
I told someone it was on a past podcast that they weren't gonna get 60 frames per second for Starfield. We were gonna have to wait until Starfield 76 came out. then you'd have 60 frames per second. Probably. I said they couldn't do it before it, so
No, it's Starfield 60. It's not 76. There
you go.
They really want to tie it correctly so nobody gets any questions. This is the 60. This is the 60.
I mean, I guess they could call it like Starfield 45 or something, because they can't hit the 60, so they got to try for 45. Yep.
Yeah, on the Xbox Series X for the mid gen upgrade.
Wow.
The one where it should have been launched that way. Yeah, like I said, I told somebody, I said, I think 24 teraflops. Honestly, talking with some people that I knew in certain industry, like that there was speculation. It's not saying I'm not saying I know exactly what they were planning, but I'm pretty sure that 24 teraflops might have been their goal, because why would they hit the 12, and then if they talk a mid-gen upgrade, it's going to be a 24 teraflop. It's going to be something like a 3090, what they're aiming at as far as their output for a system, which is incredible if they did something like that. But again, I think it could hurt them. Especially, I mean, like Sony right now, it's really weird. They're like, they're already talking about, we're going to PlayStation 5 Pro. Like, really?
Yeah.
Man, guys. Like,
that's crazy.
Why didn't you wait a year? And this bothered me when they brought everything out. With the pandemic and everything that happened, in my opinion, they should have delayed the consoles 6 months to a year and just said, we're going to do it a little bit further. And I mean, they focused on the PS4 because the PS5s weren't available anyway.
Yeah.
And they were so short, it basically was like waiting a year or more. So there was no point to push it. And I think they all would have been better to wait, honestly.
Well, and you remember with the end of last generation, PlayStation 4 finished really strong. You had Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, you had The Last of Us Part 2. So they had strong games to tide people over. And I mean,
exactly.
it's like you can kind of say Xbox didn't really have strong games to end the generation, but if you delayed, if you look at Halo Infinite, and it got delayed a year. If you delayed the console generation, it would have been a launch title, and people wouldn't have given it as much shit. They just wouldn't have.
No, they wouldn't have. No, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
They would have had they would have had an easier time dealing with things. Like I said, all the way around. Hindsight's 2020. We can all look at it and go, that's what it should have been. Armchair quarterbacks, but still, it's frustrating to see. Yeah.
And we always point to Turn 10, like I say. I love Turn 10, and I love the Forza franchise, because at that point, whenever those Forza games drop, they're always pushing the system as hard as they can at that point. So, and you look at Forza Motorsport 8, essentially, or just Forza Motorsport. It got delayed. They keep pushing it back because Turn 10 is pushing it as hard as they can to get as much as they can out of the Series X, because they want it to look absolutely phenomenal. So it's like, I feel like, and it's like they're doing it, but so many other studios aren't. And it's like, why are you doing a mid-gen refresh? We're not even ready for that. You guys have not tapped the potential of the Series X yet. So how about we wait until you get closer to doing that before we start talking about mid-gen refresh?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think there's going to be a couple of studios that really push this console. Like one, definitely, for example, is Ninja Theory. Like from what we've seen,
definitely.
I'm hoping we don't hear stories of the Series X melting after playing the game.
18 frames per second. It's great. It's very cinematic. Yeah.
Oh.
I think they'll probably cap it at 30, and that'll be fine if it's a steady 30. But I think that one's definitely going to show the power of the Series X, and still be a gorgeous looking game on the Series X.
Yeah.
Obsidian with Avowed, I'm kind of curious. Like, I want to see a little bit more gameplay on that one, but I think Obsidian's one, they may not push it to the full extent, but they'll push it enough between particle effects and enemies on screen and things like that, because they were one of the studios in the Xbox One generation that pitched a game. Unfortunately, it didn't get greenlit, but they were going to have it where it was going to be 100-player instance, but not a battle royale. It was going to be kind of like a medieval time period with magic and dragons and things like that. And you know how like Destiny has like their public events. You were going to have a 100-player public event, and what they would do is basically it would send you your accolades after the fact, like after you and the other players have beat the dragon or whatever beast was in that instance. You would get like the pictures and video clips. Like if you did the damage dealing slice to the dragon's, tail or something like that. It would give you like a replay clip and all that. And I think they had it under the name Stormlands. So if any of that ambitious game that they were looking to make back in Xbox One generation, kind of leaks into Avowed, I think we're going to be in for a pleasant surprise on that one too. And then Coalition, obviously, they're like the masters of Unreal Engine. Like, they've made Unreal Engine 4 games that they were working with look almost like they were Unreal Engine 5 looking games. So I think they're going to be definitely a sight to see when they either release Gear 6, because I hear their projects that they were working on beforehand may have gotten either delayed or canceled.
Yeah.
We'll see if that, how that pans out.
I know that everybody loves Gears of War, and it is a strong franchise, but it's like, in my opinion, I just kind of feel like the Coalition is just wasted on the Gears franchise. It's like, yeah, it's nice that they made it, but you look at, and there have been, a lot of people that have said, hey, you know what? PlayStation has the superhero game. They got Spider-Man, and now they got Wolverine. What does Xbox have? And it's not just one or two here. It's actually a sizable amount of people that are like, hey, you know what? Xbox needs their own exclusive superhero game. And it's like, if you were going to have one studio do it, the Coalition is that studio.
Yeah.
Because they're already making third-person action games, and most of these superhero games are third-person action. That's just what works with that type of subgenre. And Coalition is exactly who you'd go to. And again, you got them tied up with making Gear 6. It takes their hands off of any potential superhero games that Xbox could get.
True. Now, question for you. What superhero would you like to see them work on?
Dread or Punisher?
Yeah. A lot of people I usually talk to, Punisher is like that leading one, just because, especially with Coalition and their gunplay and stuff like that. Having a Punisher, having it where, like, a few people are now saying, like, maybe have it where it's an RPG where you could pick your loadout as far as weapons and choose the style of weapons you use and things like that, and have different armors and stuff like that. But Dreadpool would definitely be, or Deadpool would definitely be another one.
Deadpool would be good.
But man, oh man, I agree. Although there was some speculation at one point that they may have been working on a Mandalorian game, or maybe that was a Bethesda studio. But Coalition definitely has the talent to pretty much turn any IP into gold.
Definitely.
I'm not the biggest Gears player. For me, I suck at it as far as the multiplayer. I'll stick with the Division. That's the cover-based shooter I can at least hold my own on.
Right.
But,
not the best at Gears myself.
Well, it's like Gears, you got to play it a certain way. I like Division because I can play Division very well. Gears, I played like one or two matches. I'm getting the hell kicked out of me. So I'm like, this is just not for me,
You just got to play like a blockhead. That's what you got to do. You got to play like a dude. Don't play like a little pussy. Come on. Play like a man.
I'll keep that in mind. Yep.
Just saying. Just giving you, pointers best I can.
Right, with a bag of Doritos in one hand and a Mountain Dew in the other. I got it.
Damn, Skippy. Code Red, baby.
Oh, Jesus. Yes. Wow.
Yes, my son. What do you need?
It would definitely be cool to see Coalition do another IP, see what they can, bring forth type of deal, like that demo that they did for, I think it was the GDC, like maybe 2 years ago or something like that, where they had the guy walking down this like ancient corridor, and there was like this diamond thing spinning
with the glass thing in his hand, the Gears, the one that you're talking about. Yeah, that was a great one. Yeah, it showed the particle effects and the smoke and everything. That was awesome.
Yeah, so if they can do that with just a tech demo, I would love to see what they would create as far as if they could choose anything outside of Gears, what would they make? I say give them the keys to do it.
Yeah, but it's like we'd love to see that, but honestly, I don't think Microsoft would even give them the choice. They'd say, "Nope, you're
Gears."
That's right. They're like, "Nope, you're chained to the Gears franchise until we hit Gears 30, and then we'll think about it."
You get that cog around your neck right now.
Yeah, that's the way they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say something. I don't know. It was something, nothing important, obviously.
Well, let me ask you guys something.
Yeah.
Do you think Xbox is going to have a huge event in June?
I don't know.
I think with their showcase, and I've been trying to figure out like what would be the safe plan and what's the pie in the sky, and
Yeah.
I kind of thinking like the safe plan just because like I'm looking forward to Forza. I want them to open the show with Forza. Give us a release date,
Definitely.
'cause I don't think it's going to release between now and June 11th. So just open the show with it. Show us all the ray trace goodness and 60 frames plus goodness of it. And I'm pretty sure they'll probably throw in 120 frame mode at 1080 or something like that as well. But show
Yeah.
us all that they can with Forza. Maybe even drop a demo that same day because they sometimes have the demos a little early. It would be extra early, I guess, but start the show with Forza. Give us a release date at the end if they're fairly close or fairly certain on what the window is. And then I think I know we were just talking about Coalition. I think close the show with Gears only because, like I said, they've been taken off of those other two projects. So show what they can do as far as with Unreal Engine 5 or what the potential is with Gears, because that'll be like the eye candy before leading into the Starfield showcase, for the last half hour. But I hope that they give us updates on Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3. I don't necessarily expect to see full-on gameplay, like an in-engine stuff would be fine.
Yeah.
I really don't want to see CGI again for State of Decay, but yeah, maybe some in-engine stuff would be kind of cool.
Definitely a gameplay demo, something.
Yeah, and do the same thing with like what was the other one? Like Project Mara, possibly. If Hellblade or Avowed are going to be coming next year, definitely give us some gameplay of that. Like you could see the guy with the controller and whatnot. I mean, they kind of did that with that other one where everybody was like, "That's not gameplay; those are cutscenes." And you could tell like the stutter step between like when she would throw the spear and all that. It was still gameplay, but let's just see some more of that. But I think if you're gonna, completely, go with the pie in the sky.
Yes, Pesley, we know you'd punch your sister. You always punch your sister. I know. Just nothing but love there.
But if they're going to do a pie in the sky kind of thing, I would say start it off with Compulsion's project, that Project Nightmare, because Phil Spencer's been talking about it for a while. We have yet to see or hear anything more outside of, they're still hiring people over at Compulsion, but I would have to assume there is some gameplay, even if it's not coming out for a year or two. At least let us see what sparked his attention to want to help them expand that studio and stuff like that, and then close the show with gameplay of Fable. Like I think Fable, from somebody kind of in the know that kind of did some stuff with it. From what they've hinted to, it's if you think Forza can melt your face as far as resolution and graphical goodness, Fable's going to be just as good, if not better. It's just that no cars. It's going to be people and foliage or trees and shrubs and things like that. So I think that it's ready enough to see some gameplay. And I know Matt Booty said he wanted to have them show some before, and they said they weren't ready. But I think they'll at least have a in-engine or actual gameplay slice to be able to show us. And that I think would be the showcase, to kind of set things off for, the rest of this year and next year.
Definitely. It's like some people are doubting Fable because Playground Games is attached, but it's like you just got to look at their pedigree, at the types of games that they make on the regular basis. How many Forza Horizon games have we had that were bad? Yeah,
Zero.
It's like it's a little different learning the new type of game that they're going to make, but they have a good pedigree. They know what they're doing. Just give them time to learn how to make this new type of game, and give them space, and they're going to surprise and wow everybody. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, they've made Forza Horizon into a car RPG in a way where you have the abilities on certain cars or certain unlockables and things like that. And I know that's a far stretch from a regular action RPG type of thing, but still, they've been hiring a ton of talent from competing studios and things like that that are very familiar with RPGs and action adventure games. So they have the graphical talent that they've always had for the Horizon series, and now they have writers and animators and I guess like planners or project planners and things like that from other teams, from like Naughty Dog or Bend Studios and things like that, that can help them on the the RPG aspect of stuff. Plus, they've also tapped a few other Xbox studios to kind of help them on a few things as well. Which that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of people either talk about or know. A lot of the Xbox studios, kind of like what PlayStation's always been touted of doing. Oh, their studios work together and blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
Xbox Studios do the same. It started way back when it was the water effects from I was about to say Skull and Bones. What is Sea of Thieves?
Sea of Thieves. Yep.
So with the water effects, they other teams started learning from them as far as the water effects, and it's just grown and expanded from that. Where it comes down to animation, foliage, characters, character models, and things like that they get assistance from. Having it where I believe this is a blend of Unreal and I can't say the other name because it'll definitely get the other person in trouble. But the tech that they're using as far as that engine, they have a lot of hands to be able to help them on different things that are maybe outside their normal window, and whatever they didn't have as far as staffing, they've already hired. So it's like two big teams, one to do the Horizon series and then one to do the Fable series. And I can't say anything more about it, but I would love to see that close the show just before the Starfield half hour deep dive type of thing.
Nice. So if you had to speculate, like we know what's coming this year guaranteed, but if you had to speculate one game that's not, they haven't announced that it's releasing yet this year, which one would you say is going to drop this year that they haven't said is going to drop this year yet?
Ooh. I know there's been some buzz about Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
I kind of want to believe one of their outside of first party studios projects might be one of them. Maybe Contraband. I don't know if that is at like closer to finishing than Avowed is, but if Hellblade 2 isn't the one that's like possibly to drop that they haven't said yet, I'm hoping it's something like Contraband or something like that, or completely surprise us, left field type of thing. Like I keep joking with Pong, who's looking forward to Starfield and stuff like that, along with a lot of us. It's like, hey, what if their Bethesda Online made the MMO, like you get Starfield in September, and then by the end of the year you get the almost like the equivalent of like Elder Scrolls Online, but for Starfield kind of deal.
That would be cool. Definitely.
It'd be interesting for sure.
So those are the pie in the sky or make a wish kind of dreams.
That's my make a wish.
Right.
Hey, the last case of Benedict Fox, it came out today. Actually, it's available on Game Pass like right now. Yeah, I'm just kind of peeking. I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, someone on Twitter was actually bringing up that they were late with sending out the review copies for that, and it's the developer's fault, or FedEx or whoever it is. Who knows? Who knows how they sent these review? Whatever. I'm still thinking old school. You had to send them the disc. Yeah, it's all digital now. Yeah. So. Yeah. But it's
Somebody didn't push the button.
Yep, they forgot to push the button. They went on a coffee break and the computer died. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh my god! We're supposed to send them today. What the hell?
Yeah, and it's like I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I just think it was like a brain fart by one of the people that was supposed to send it out early. Yeah. And I'm sure they're going to get shit for it, but it is what it is. And with it being available on Game Pass, if it's a good game, word of mouth is going to spread fast, and everybody's going to be trying it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably everybody going to be trying it anyway. It's a Game Pass game it's new. They're going to be like, hey, we got to try it and throw themselves into it.
I mean, I guess, but like I'm sure Anthem is on, Game Pass and no one's touching that. So
What do you mean? I have the Steelbook version of that game still. What are you talking about? Best game ever.
I mean,
best Iron Man simulator ever.
Yeah, true.
right. I guess everybody wastes money on something. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. I believe the
There
hype.
was so much potential with Anthem. That was that game where it was like, man, this could actually replace Division for me. And then I got into it, and it didn't have the same hooks, but
It didn't have the depth.
It played so
No.
well as far as like the flying mechanic. Like
Yeah.
that in itself was worth it, I think.
Yeah.
Although they should have built the rest of the game up to that same level, but
I think
the
I
flying
put like
mechanic was
20 hours or something into the game. Did the whole like the end game, and it was just like, what are we doing? What else is there to? Oh my god, this is it. And what it was is that it's kind of hard to compare to like games like Borderlands or Destiny, because there's so much. Even though Destiny had a problem with the story for a long time, still kind of does have problems with the story. But generally speaking, the best part about Destiny 2, the Destiny 2 that drew me in, and that's one of the games between the two. I've spent over 2,000 hours in those games. I've spent a huge amount of time in those games. And the reason is because the hook is that good. The hook is really good. If it gets you, you're screwed. You're stuck. And the weapon, I guess the variation, even though there are a lot of similarities, the variation and how special things feel. They made it feel special, and I think that's a key to it. And that's what didn't ever happen with Anthem. It felt boring. The guns and the weapons were literally like not even reskinned. They were the same. They looked exactly the same. Everything was the same. They shot the same. They didn't work on variety. Their entire thing, they wasted their entire budget on flying mechanics, and it was incredible. But that was all they had. I mean,
what though?
That's all they had.
The good thing about that, I guess you could call it the silver lining, is that now EA is making an Iron Man game. And you have to believe that they're using those flight mechanics for Iron Man.
Oh, I believe so. And if they make it, as long as they make it to where it's not the Avengers, to where it's not some set piece where you're going piece by piece, step by step. It just it just felt so tedious and so frustrating to play a game like that. It was still a pretty good game. I enjoyed aspects of it, but it got like so tedious. Like one of the things you guys mentioned that was bringing up what games would Microsoft go with if they had some superheroes? In my opinion, Punisher's part of it, but I think the entire not that they will let them do it, but the entire Netflix Marvel series, all of them, I think they should do those. They should do Daredevil. They should do Iron Fist. They should do what's his name? Well, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and the Punisher. Those should be their main focus, and they should follow those stories. That would be incredible. I think that would be amazing, and to have it as gritty and dark as the Netflix series, that would be something that would be competitive and draw people in, especially Daredevil, Punisher, and Luke Cage especially would be. I mean, if they did them, those three would probably be the best ever. And if they did them right and kept, got the voice actors or all the actors to do the voices from the show, I think it would be insane. It would take off like a rocket. It would just be that good. It's something missing. that'd be the way to fill it. Dread, I'm all with you on that one. I think Dread would be incredible.
Definitely. And it's like you got Luke and you got Daredevil and you got Punisher and Dread, and if you had those four, I mean, but I would say throw the rest of the Defenders in there, obviously. Just to do Jessica Jones, do everybody. Have the Defenders in there, and then have it just flesh it out. Actually, they could even do Defenders, but I think if they did like 3 core games and then the Defenders game, that would be pretty amazing. But that's a lot of planning ahead, but it would be cool. Well, and for PlayStation, Sony's budget is nowhere near what Microsoft's is.
Oh no!
So it would only be how far Microsoft would let Xbox go with it. That's the only limitation.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen that Microsoft is willing to pay billions to get content on Xbox. So I think if someone could pitch it to them, that there would be a good chance that it would happen. But who knows, right? I mean,
give me the chance. I'm pretty persuasive.
Come
on, let me talk to him. Come on.
You got to drive up to Washington State and go talk to Phil. There you go.
I'm in Idaho. It's not that far. It's a little drive.
See, there you go. You know what? And I don't even remember. What's the city that he's in? It's not Tacoma. What is it?
Is it Redmond? I think
Redmond, Washington. Well, Redmond is where Microsoft is headquarters. That's their main headquarters. Yeah. I drove through Redmond. I actually had to go to Seattle to do work, and so I drove right by Redmond. So I know where it is.
There you go.
Hey, I'm here. I got to talk to you guys for a minute. You don't mind, do you?
There you go.
To sell you. It ain't vacuum cleaners. It's some video games. Great ideas. You guys can do it, can't you? I'm sure you can. Yeah.
There you go.
What happens.
See, our fate is in your hands. How about that?
Yeah, it'll work. Sure.
Just if you do get thrown out or something, just don't tweet that. But if you succeed, tweet that.
Don't tweet that you got kicked out and arrested.
Okay, restraining order on me.
Right.
I got to meet Phil Spencer. I'm like, hey, it's Phil.
Get him out of the building.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
End up in Washington Post. Crazy man runs across the Microsoft lawn or whatever it is. Yeah.
Streaking in the quads. Yeah, no. It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Wow. All right, so if there was one title that you could predict was coming out this year that hasn't been announced yet, doesn't have to necessarily be from Xbox, just a title that hasn't been announced yet, what would you speculate it to be?
I would have to say something that we haven't heard about. I don't think it'd be coming this year. I mean, if it it means it's far further along than I thought, and they have been kind of hiding some things about it. I would say Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark.
I would say Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark. I don't know all of what's going on with that. I know that Colt Eastwood mentioned something recently, and it was in relation to that video of that extremely amazing looking realistic first person shooter.
Right, yeah.
And
I remember.
He mentioned that he got word that was illustrative of some of the effects that used for portions at least of Perfect Dark. And I was like, "Oh my god." I mean, if they could make something like that, and specifically, if I move past that real quick and just say that video is probably one of the most amazing things I've ever seen somebody try to do with a video game. And when I talk to a friend of mine, it's the lighting, it's the bloom effect, the change of focus and all of the contrast, how it goes from outside to inside, and how it follows it's a camera focus and its capability of capturing light, but they did it so perfectly. That's why it was so real. And I was even talking to my daughter. I said, I think if somebody made a Call of Duty like game that played like that, it would be incredible. It'd be incredible.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they could do the body cam for too long, because I think most people be throwing up after about 10 minutes of playing. But they definitely, if they gave you the ability to be able to choose and to do that, then it's just so incredible. Yeah, the movement, the lighting, the gunplay. I mean, there's even a part where at the end of the demo, where the person was rechecking their gun. They were doing a round check, and then they were double checking like a double feed, and they had to rack their gun again, check it, and do it. And when they did it, it was perfect. It was exactly how you would do it if you were in that situation. And I was like, oh my God, whoever did this knew what they were doing. It was great.
Well, and you're seeing that with a lot of these indie games. They're passion projects. And you have someone that says, hey, you know what? It would be cool if you were seeing the game through the body cam of a police officer and you entered a building. And that's how games like this essentially start. Exactly. And they go through and they flesh it out. And you have people that are tremendously talented putting these games together. I'd love to see something like that on Xbox. This game will probably be on PC only for a while, but who knows?
I would think so, yeah. And the other thing is, you never know when the next Matrix moment's going to happen, when somebody's going to come with an effect or some kind of I guess gimmick in a way, but not a gimmick, like a new process, a new way of achieving something, and making it to where people then like go, oh, I want to do that too, and then it becomes this new thing.
Like
And
bullet time in video games.
this to me, that looks like kind of one of the new things. If they could make it look that real, the things you could do with it, even if it didn't look exactly like that all the time, if you could get that kind of realistic movement, that's incredible to me. Yeah. That's that's blending the lines between reality and games. That's really incredible.
And I think studios like Coalition could do it. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
But they just, you just got to unshackle them from Gears of War and let them go after it. And they need time to really look at it.
I think they've done amazing work with Gears. I agree. I think they need something new. They need to do something new. They need to try and branch out and do something totally new and unique and something they've been wanting to do. And I want to see them do that. I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be crazy. Whatever they decide to do after Gears, it's going to have a lot of people talking, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, one of the games, because I never threw it out there. I apologize. We got caught up.
It's all good.
Yeah, the Tears of the Kingdom for the Switch. I've actually been looking forward to it just because I want to see if they actually address some of the problems that people were complaining about, like no dungeons and a little fleshed out story play in a game that is really a great, amazing game, but something that needs something done. And I would love to see Nintendo actually address the problem with the Switch and come out with a new system and show people that we actually do want to compete in back like they used to with the consoles. They used to do that. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Let me see, what was it? I was trying to see some of the other ones. Skull and Bones, you mentioned it earlier. That one I'm interested because of it looks pretty good. It doesn't look quite as good as it did originally, but the last little preview I watched was considerably better, and it did look like it was taking the simulation of pirate and shipping a little bit more seriously. So I'm curious to see if that kind of gives a little bit of a challenge, I guess, to Sea of Thieves, because there's nothing else out there. So it'd be kind of cool to see something different, a little more realistic take, something that is a little more akin to and along the lines of like Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. So you're like, I can do some more things. That'd be cool. I'm interested in that one. What else was there? I didn't know about Telltale series. I usually don't get into, but I'm a huge Expanse fan, so I'm interested just to see how that goes, because I'd be curious to flesh something out in this series I like. And what was the day before? I see something about it, but I have no idea if it says November 10th release date, but I have no idea if that's going to happen. And you remember what that one is, right?
I remember hearing about it.
So the day before is essentially The Division Zombies.
Okay.
That's the one that's a third-person over-the-shooter zombie game that looks like it's built like on The Division's, like almost on the engine. It looks just like The Division. It really does. And the question is, everybody is saying, is it vaporware? Did they just basically make this demo and make it look really awesome, but is there no game? And so I'm still waiting. And they've also shifted to Unreal Engine 5 from Unreal Engine 4, so there's all these interesting things. Welcome back, Fuzzy.
Welcome back, Fuzzy.
My cat jumped on my PC and cut it off.
That happens. Armored Core 6 also has me intrigued. I played Armored Core a long time ago, and I'm interested to see how that goes. That actually has me kind of excited to see if it's a really good game. And then Forza Motorsport, I'm a massive motorsport fan. I have a 67 Camaro. I love autocross. I love racing. I lived not far from Laguna Seca when I was a kid, so we could go down and watch races. So I saw lots of things, and it was amazing. So I'm very excited about that game. And then Stalker 2, that one looks very interesting. I'm very interested in seeing that one.
Didn't that get delayed?
I think it did. I'm looking at seeing what it says. Yeah, it says 2023, but it's still kind of who knows? Sometime in 2023. So there's no set date, but it might be pushed to 2024. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I know those developers are having to deal with some real world stuff that's really difficult right now.
Yeah, it's a little hard.
Yeah.
It's a little hard.
Yeah, so I mean, there's, I know they want to deliver the game for us, but obviously their safety is most important.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for checking out our podcast. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everyone in chat. And of course, thank you to my two amazing guests, Darth Praxis, Fuzzy Belvedere. Thank you so much for being on my XPN USA podcast. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it, sir.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Thank you for having us on here. It's
Yeah,
been
fan-
awesome.
Thank you, Fuzzy, for putting up with me. You're a good guy. I don't care what Sentinel said before you showed up, but you're a good guy, buddy.
Oh, right.
Hey, I know you guys are into racing just like I am, so it's all good.
Nice. So Fuzzy, tell everyone in the chat where they can find you. Social media, podcasts.
Well, just want to once again thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure being on here with you guys. For those that want to hear my endless rambles or rants about anything gaming related, and occasional gameplay, video clips and pics and stuff like that, just follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Double Barrel Gaming for Breakfast with Boom tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Mr. Boomstick XL's channel. And then later that evening, Xbox Ultimate Podcast on Fun Speculations channel. And that's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Saturday for episode 300 of the Shop Podcast on PTK Blam's channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Time or Eastern Standard Time tomorrow or Saturday night. Look forward to
300.
seeing
That's
everybody there.
awesome. Cool.
Yeah, very cool. Outstanding. Darth Praxis, tell everyone where they can find you. Not your home address, just on social media.
Well, I am in Idaho, so if you want to come show up. As far as pretty much the only place you could really find me as generally and regularly would be Twitter, and that's at Praxis Darth. And otherwise, if you're on Xbox and I'm playing around and you see me hiding or not hiding and actually out in the open where people can see me, it's Darth Praxis, just like it's spelled right there. And other than that, my YouTube channel is kind of like silent. It's been that way for a while. I'm planning to do something, but I haven't quite reached it yet. And with some of my medical issues, I am trying to get myself back up to there. So hopefully soon I can kind of do some more.
Nice. Outstanding.
Yeah.
As anyone knows who's watching this channel, obviously I'm on the PSN Party Podcast Wednesdays, 2:30 Central Standard Time, and then I'm on Xbox Live Party Podcast every Thursday, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. You guys can check it out there. I'm also on Twitter at SSG Sentinel, so you can find me there. I tweet more than I probably should, but some of us are just like that, so it's cool. Cool. Thank you everyone in the chat. Again, thank you my guests for being so spectacular. I greatly appreciate it.
It was hard, but I did what I could.
Thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Later.